Okay, welcome back. Let's talk about the pharmaceutical space now. Alembic Pharma is the company in focus. Numbers have come through for the fourth quarter. Margins are lower year on year. Revenue is better than expectations of around 8% growth. Let's get more perspective going with Shaunak Amin, Managing Director at Alembic Pharmaceuticals. Shaunak, good morning. Great to have you with us here on the program. Thank you for your time. Prashant this side. Before we get to Alembic and the numbers and prospects business-wise, let me just quickly touch upon what is top of mind for many investors, which is the executive order which was signed by President Trump in the US, basically signaling a clear intention to onshore as much pharma manufacturing as possible. They're talking about reducing the amount of time to approve domestic pharma manufacturing plants. They're talking about increasing the fee for inspections of foreign manufacturing plants and highlighting, the 5 to 10 year plan for the greenfield build is unacceptable. They want to do it faster, much faster. So I just wanted your sort of thoughts on this in terms of what are the implications at an industry level and maybe then for Alembic as well if this were to happen. Go on.
Yeah, so I think when you look at this order, I think it's not necessary. You got to take it in the right perspective to start off with. It's not just in terms of generics, but it's also in terms of global pharmaceutical production that goes out of the US, of which all patented products are a much larger share of this. So it's in context of that. So I think first you got to put the perspective correct from that point of view. It's not targeted towards generics per se. On this, it's still very early days. We're talking to our partners, our business partners in the US, as well as there's a lot of talk within the industry. I think at this point in time, it's too early to have a directional view on this at this point in time. So I think it's still early days, but like I said, I think it's going to be, I think the industry will have to navigate this as a whole. I'm sure I think both governments are talking to each other on this consistently. And I think it's still very early days to take any directional position on this for us at this point in time.
No, absolutely. Shaunak, it's not obviously targeted, as you said, towards generics specifically, and take that point. Two other things I want to point out. One is that this is not tariff related. This is more to do with what they call national security, onshoring manufacturing. Because I remember having this conversation with the management of Lupin. They said, well, we charge about 10% on $400 million worth of US imports. We import about $800 million worth of drugs from the US. We charge about 10% on about 50% of it. So it's not much we can do away with it. But this is not about tariffs and reciprocity. A second thing, cost of manufacturing in the US is by some estimates, 5 times, 10 times compared to what it is in India. So is it going to be feasible, Shaunak? Will this work out?
Like I said, I think it's too early. I'd rather not. Like I said, it's too early to make take a directional view on this at this point to get into discussions of onshoring in the US or not. So like I said, it's too early for us to really come out with these statements. I think
I'm not asking for impact on you. I'm saying, is it prohibitively more expensive to make in the US?
I think
at a broad level.
I think it's prohibitively expensive to make anything in the US versus India. I think if you look at it from that perspective. So I think it applies to all sectors, not just pharmaceuticals. So I think your statement's correct.
So, okay, Shaunak, so now let's talk about the numbers as well. US has actually grown very well for you.
Yes.
Growth in the business is 20%. So I just want to understand whether, I don't know if pre-buying is the right way of calling it, but because there was this sword hanging on us about impending tariffs, was that an element that boosted US sales in the fourth quarter?
No.
Or is it entirely organic?
No. So like I said, we've been talking to our business partners at this point in time in the US, the people we supply to. And at this point, none of them have given us a direction on whether they'd like to make some early purchases at this point in time. So all Q4 sales were pretty much, there was no stocking up at this point in time. The US sales was largely on a back of a stable volumes plus some good launches across all our product therapies.
Okay, so all things being equal, and as of now, if there is no prohibitive, adverse policy announcement from the US, what are you expecting from that business this year in terms of, revenue expectations, launches, margins, the general sense of pricing?
Yeah.
Just give us an outlook.
Yeah, so, honestly, we maintain the current view. I think we expect this trajectory to continue going forward. But as an organization, we don't give a forward guidance. You guys know about this quite well. So it's hard for me to project at this time. But I think at this point, if you could put it, I think the worst is behind us from 2 years ago in terms of price erosions. I think we have a good pipeline of launches lined up this year. Plus, I think we're getting stable volumes across the board. So I think we expect this directional movement to continue in the coming quarters.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, Shaunak. Good morning. Good to see you in. This is Nigel on this side. I went through one of our interviews that we had early in the fiscal, and you had promised a couple of things, and you more or less achieved that. On the animal health side, you were talking about, I think, a 20% growth. You're almost doing, I think, 100 crores per quarter.
Yes.
On this sort of a base, do you expect this momentum to continue? And also on the margin aspect, you said directionally you're heading towards 20% when we spoke last time around.
Yes.
For this year, what kind of a margin improvement can we look at in comparison to last year?
Yeah, so I think animal healthcare has been a real bright spot for us.
Yeah.
And we expect this to continue. There's no data per se in terms of market movement or general market trends on this, but I think we're quite confident looking at our base work to continue this growth trajectory. In terms of the margin movement, let me put it this way. I think the current margins were comfortable with this level. I think quarter to quarter margins do change based on product mix sales. And that's hard for me to project at this point in time. But like I said, we're comfortable at these margin levels, but obviously as the product mix keeps on evolving, we try to move towards a 20%, but I can't give any firm guidance on that at this point in time.
Got that. Shaunak, with regards to the India-UK FTA, does that benefit Alembic in any way?
At this point, not materially.
Okay, not materially. But you do sell into the UK?
It's a very tiny percentage of what we sell.
Okay, I'm sorry to press just about the US-Trump thing one more time. The US FTA has officially shifted its policy. They are now talking about more, let me just sort of open this. They're talking about more unannounced inspections. And they're also highlighting that foreign companies have enjoyed a double standard given advance notice before facility inspections. American manufacturers, they're saying, were held to a more rigorous standard with no such warning. I mean, this is, and this is the US FDA kind of after the executive order.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
So I think as a company, since, me and my brother have been running it, I think strong quality and regulatory compliance has been a hallmark of Alembic over the last 10 years. We have an excellent track record on this. Honestly, we welcome this move because we are committed to quality and, compliance totally on this. And that's one part of our key strategic initiatives, over a decade now. So honestly, we welcome this move.
Okay. All right, Shaunak, thank you very much for joining in and giving us perspective on the numbers and, of course, the environment in one of your key markets, which is the US.